The Last of Us Part 2, a game that cleaved the gaming community in two upon its release, remains a potent, complex, and often uncomfortable experience years later. Beyond the visceral gameplay and stunning visuals, its enduring power lies in its unflinching exploration of trauma, revenge, and the cyclical nature of violence, a thematic tapestry woven with deliberate ambiguity and challenging player expectations at every turn. Unlike its predecessor, which offered a relatively straightforward narrative of paternal love in a post-apocalyptic world, Part 2 plunges players into a moral gray area from the outset. The act that sets the plot in motion, a brutal murder, is not a faceless villainy, but a deeply personal act of vengeance with agonizing repercussions. This immediately forces players to confront the uncomfortable reality that even justifiable anger can lead to monstrous actions. One of the game's most controversial yet ultimately most impactful decisions is its narrative structure. Shifting perspectives drastically alter the player's understanding of the characters, particularly Abby, initially presented as a ruthless antagonist. By forcing players to inhabit Abby's perspective, experiencing her trauma and motivations, Naughty Dog subverts the traditional hero-villain dynamic. While some players found this jarring, it ultimately dismantles the simplistic notion of good and evil, exposing the shared humanity that fuels the cycle of violence. This deliberate ambiguity extends to the game's core themes. Is revenge ever justified? Can empathy truly exist in a world consumed by survival? Part 2 offers no easy answers, instead presenting a spectrum of perspectives and consequences. The game invites players to grapple with these questions, forcing them to confront their own biases and preconceived notions about morality. The complexity of the characters further fuels this ambiguity. Ellie, once a beacon of hope, becomes consumed by a rage that threatens to erase her humanity. Joel, whose actions in the first game are lauded as heroic, is revealed to be a flawed individual whose choices have far-reaching consequences. Even the seemingly innocent characters are revealed to be complicit in the overarching violence, making them complicit in the suffering it causes. Beyond the narrative, the gameplay itself contributes to the feeling of unease. Combat is brutal and unforgiving, forcing players to confront the visceral reality of violence. Each kill carries weight, emphasizing the fragility of life and the lasting impact of trauma. This isn't a power fantasy. It's a stark reminder of the human cost of violence. The Last of Us Part 2 is not a game to be enjoyed in a conventional sense. It's challenging, often painful, experience that forces players to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves and the world around them. It's a testament to the power of interactive storytelling, pushing the boundaries of the medium by daring to explore complex themes and challenging player expectations. While the game's divisive reception may linger, its impact on the gaming landscape is undeniable. The Last of Us Part 2 stands as a powerful example of how video games can explore complex moral issues, force players to confront uncomfortable truths, and leave a lasting echo long after the credits roll. Its ambiguity and complexity are not weaknesses, but strengths, fostering a dialogue about violence, trauma, and the fragile nature of humanity that continues to resonate today. Since its release in June 2020, The Last of Us Part 2 has ignited fervent discussions among gamers and critics alike, not merely for its gameplay mechanics or technical prowess, but for its deep exploration of the human condition. This sequel to the 2013 hit The Last of Us builds upon its predecessor's themes of love, loss, and survival, and takes them to new, often uncomfortable heights. In this video, we delve into how this game grapples with the complexities of humanity, focusing on themes of conflict, empathy, and redemption. At its core, The Last of Us Part 2 revolves around conflict, both external and internal. The game's narrative is primarily driven by the deep-seated desire for revenge, following a horrific act committed against a beloved character. Ellie, the game's protagonist, embarks on a gruesome quest for retribution, leading players to confront the progression from love to hatred. This journey reflects one of the most critical aspects of the human condition, the capacity for both profound love and destructive vengeance. The game presents a brutal world where the lines between right and wrong blur. players find themselves navigating morally gray areas, questioning the justification for violence while contemplating the cyclical nature of hatred. This theme is further compounded by the contrasting story of Abby, the character whose actions instigate Ellie's quest. By allowing players to see the narrative through Abby's eyes, the game challenges simplistic notions of villainy and heroism, prompting players to ponder the motivations that drive individuals to commit unspeakable acts. This duality reflects the complexity of human nature, where empathy struggles against animosity. One of the most significant accomplishments of The Last of Us Part 2 is its daring exploration of empathy. In a world ravaged by both human and environmental threats, the game pushes players to engage with perspectives that might be inconceivable in a more conventional narrative. The emotionally charged performances, combined with intricate character development, elicit a range of feelings, forcing players to confront their own values and biases. Ellie's transformation from a hopeful survivor to a figure blinded by revenge serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of losing sight of one's humanity. The game encapsulates the idea that empathy is not a straightforward emotion. It is fraught with challenges, particularly when grief and rage cloud judgment. Players experience Ellie's pain as they witness her relationships fracture in the name of revenge. In contrast, Abby's narrative arc unveils the price of conflict, revealing the universal struggle for connection amidst profound loss and grief. Through its multifaceted characters, The Last of Us Part 2 implores players to recognize that every individual carries their own burdens and past traumas. This understanding fosters a broader sense of compassion and legitimizes the complexities of individual experiences and an essential reflection of the human condition. While the themes of conflict and empathy dominate the narrative, The Last of Us Part 2 also probes the frail thread of redemption that weaves through its characters' lives. The quest for redemption is inherently human, as individuals seek to atone for past mistakes or atrocities. As the narrative unfolds, players are confronted with the reality that redemption is neither easily attained nor universally accepted. Throughout the game, moments of vulnerability punctuate the harsh reality of a post-apocalyptic world. Both Ellie and Abby grapple with their identities and the legacies they wish to leave behind. The culmination of their stories serves as a poignant reminder that healing comes not merely from revenge, but from understanding, growth, and the acceptance of loss. Moreover, the game emphasizes that the path to redemption is layered and often painful. In confronting their pasts, characters must navigate a landscape littered with memories that haunt them. The struggle to find meaning in suffering resonates deeply with players, inviting reflection on their battles with guilt, forgiveness, and the pursuit of a better self. The Last of Us Part 2 is not just a game. It is an evocation exploration of the human condition. It invites players to grapple with complex themes of conflict, empathy, and redemption in ways few other narratives have dared to achieve. By immersing players in a world that mirrors the struggles of our own, it highlights the profound reality of what it means to be human. In the end, it is the recognition of our shared fragility and resilience that ground us in our humanity, urging us to confront not only the darker aspects of our nature, but also the shimmering potential for empathy and connection in a divided world. As players traverse the harrowing landscapes of Ellie and Abby's journeys, they are not just spectators. They are participants in a deeper dialogue about the essence of who we are and who we can become.